folks, it's Finn. I'm now just over 2 months post-op from phalloplasty. I've had stage 1 of radial artery phalloplasty using forearm donor site. And I thought I'd do the first video about how I'm adjusting to having a penis. Obviously it's early days, so I'm kind of going to do a few of these videos as time goes on. I was asked to do one earlier, but it just felt a bit too soon to kind of really talk about it, and I thought I'd give it a little bit longer. Right, okay, well for me the process of kind of adjusting to having a penis started last year really. I think for me it started when I first decided that, you know, I was going to go for lower surgery, because for anybody that's watched my videos, I kind of said in the very beginning that I probably wouldn't have lower surgery, and if I did, it definitely wouldn't be phalloplasty, it would be meteoroidplasty, most likely. And that's mainly due to my fears of lower surgery, and because I was unfortunately subject to a lot of the myths that are out there. I'm going to do a video about this again soon. And so I kind of ruled it out. And although I had some dysphoria, it wasn't as bad as my chest dysphoria was. And I was kind of more desperate to kind of squash any dysphoria, because I wanted to be happy with what I'd got so that I didn't have to have surgery. But it became apparent very quickly after top surgery that my thinking changed. I think I've described this before, where I kind of swapped between really wanting to be a man to then realising I am a man, and that kind of subtle difference made me miss my penis more and made me see that I was born in unfortunate circumstances where I hadn't grown one, and that kind of process made it all feel very different. And so it was clear that I had to kind of look at lower surgery. And that kind of adjustment, I mean, I took a long time to work this out. I took a good year of kind of really researching, going to see the London team, talking to my therapist to try and get my head around this. And that was the biggest adjustment for me, was kind of making that decision to put myself through not just one but 3 very hardcore operations, and to do that to myself I had to be sure that I was making the right decisions and choosing the right surgery for me. And ironically it ended up that I realised if I was going to go through all of that and take lots of risks, because every process is a risk, of course it is, even though the results are far better these days and the risks are lower, they are still existing. And obviously choosing to lose a part of my arm, you know, was a big way up for me in terms of, do I do that? And it did seem apparent that if I was going to do all of that, then forearm phalloplasty was the best in terms of outcome, aesthetics, sensation and so forth, and I decided if I was going to go for it, I might as well do that. So that was a big, really big adjustment for me, was in terms of going, okay, so I'm now a person that is going to have a penis. So that big adjustment started to happen back then, and I think that was crucial for me in terms of recovery, was kind of that process of getting my mind in that place that, you know, this was going to be difficult, but that everybody else that had said it was difficult also said they wouldn't change it for the world, that they don't regret it, and getting myself into that head state before the op of going, right, this is not going to be easy, but I do know 100% that this is what I want, and I am 100% prepared for what can happen. And I think that did make the whole thing much, much easier. Adjusting after the op, it was kind of a strange thing to wake up and find a penis. It was all very surreal when I woke up, because I kind of came to it not in the happiest of states. I had a really bad pain in my back, and I'm usually quite good at waking up for anaesthetic, but I wasn't so good this time. And the first thing I really remember is being back in the room. They put you in like this surgical, I can't remember what it's called, critical room, so they can keep an eye on you. And I was kind of half dozing, and these nurses kind of pulled back the covers and were fumbling about, and I couldn't really see, but then all of a sudden I heard this, and I knew they were going to take the pulse, because they hook the artery up, so they have to make sure that it's viable, that it's working and everything. But I hadn't expected to hear it, and it was just like a heartbeat. Well, you know, it's a pulse, it is theoretically a heartbeat, but all of a sudden I had this feeling of, that's my penis's heartbeat. and I know that's completely wrong, it's the pulse, not the heartbeat, but still, that kind of, I can't explain the feeling that just like came over me, this like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing. And then I kind of looked down, and I think I was kind of prepared to see something that was quite kind of manky looking, because, you know, at stage 1 it's not finished, you know, it's just like they've literally rolled up your arm and put it down there, and I expected to see it in that kind of way, but I didn't. I looked down, and although of course bruised, battered, covered in blood and a Penrose drain sticking out the end of it, to hear this pulse beating and to see this penis was just overwhelming. And right, you know, it wasn't like I looked down and went, oh, where's that come from? It was like, yep, that's exactly what's supposed to be there. It was very much like my top surgery, where I don't feel like I had anything removed, I had something revealed, because something was already there in my male chest, but unfortunately things had grown on top of it. And so they were removed, but actually what they did was reveal. And it was the same thing with downstairs. I've said before, I kind of used to see myself like a Ken doll, where you've just got nothing there. And now with the penis there, it's just like, it doesn't feel added, it just feels revealed, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that wasn't odd, and actually Drew's reaction to it was kind of the same. But what was odd was the first time I touched it. Once they moved me back to my main room and they gave me like a bed bath, the nurse was kind of moving it all around and washing, and she said, can you just hold it for a minute whilst I clean round it? And I just held it. It was really heavy and really warm, and I remember just kind of holding it and thinking, oh my god, it feels like a hot sausage. And there was no mental connection at all between me and it. It was just bizarre. I was just literally holding it in my hand, obviously attached there, I'm not that, yeah, and looking at it and going, oh my god. And my friend, like, when we had this conversation before I went in, was describing the whole process of birth sounding very similar, I'm still holding it, to what phalloplasty is. You know, you go in and you're looking forward to this thing happening, but you know, the birth of a baby, the arrival of a penis, but at the same time you're not looking forward to all the pain, and then you've got to adjust to how your body changes and to having this new thing in your life. And it was that moment of holding it where all of that kind of flooded through. Like, you know, I've got this new baby penis, but at the moment, you know, there's no sensation in it. I can't feel it. So although it looks like it should be there and it belongs, in the early days of holding it, it felt very, very alien, because there was no touch sensation. So there was just like this strange feeling. And I think really, at the moment, it's still kind of feeling like that. It's still like, not as much as it was, but like, because me and Drew have then come home from the hospital and had to look after it, and we've had to kind of support it and hold it, it's not been really a sexual organ, it's been a patient that we've had to look after and care for and feed, clothe, you know, change nappies, all of that business. And so it's still in kind of patient mode with it. Although it is starting to change. I mean, now when I'm naked, it looks right. Holding it is, I can't, you know, the feeling of having my penis in my hand is amazing now. I don't have that disconnect anymore that I did. It's like, yeah, this is my penis, and it's fantastic. But it's still not moved from patient to penis, and I think it will move when me and Drew manage to do things in the bedroom, which we're contemplating. Of course, I'm not going to talk about that really openly here. But yeah, I think that's when it will move. But obviously at the moment, because there's no sensation, I think it's difficult. But yeah, it's certainly not a shock. And it's also not half done how I expected to see it. I keep saying this, and I don't know if I'm ever getting it across properly, but phalloplasty happens in a number of stages. It won't have the correct glands and the correct shape of a regular cis male penis until stage 2. So I'd kind of expected to kind of look and go, yeah, penis, great, but to not be worried that it didn't look quite right yet. But it does look right. It looks 100% right to me. It's just, again, in the process of being created. So, you know, it was revealed. It's always been there. It's not like it's suddenly arrived, and it's not like it's not done. It's like it's there and it's evolving on me. And yeah, we're bonding. We are bonding, absolutely. But I think that will happen far more as time goes on. So yeah, as I say, I'm going to keep updating this about, you know, I don't know, it'd be like, I suppose it's like having a donor thing attached, isn't it? Because you've got to like bond, your mind's got to bond with it, your body's got to bond with it, and I think the next stage will be in feeding it, because at the moment, as I say, it's that patient, it's worrying factors of me having clothes on and I can't feel it, so I'm like, is he alright, is he okay? Whereas when I feel it, you know, that kind of natural feeling of him in there will be very different. Although at the moment, obviously, I can feel him with other parts of me. So like when I'm walking, for example, and I can feel like I've got so much in my pants and it's all mine, because it feels so different to a peacock, obviously. Although I could feel my peacock in my pants, this is different, this is warm, this is my body, and so having that feeling in my pants is quite amazing. And like when I'm walking around naked, I can feel, you know, him hitting off my thighs, and that's quite awesome. And Drew laughs at me just wandering around the house, kind of doing a bit of a wiggle, and that's quite amazing. And I keep having moments where I'll just be in a cafe or in a meeting or something, and I go, oh, I've got a penis, and I start grinning, which is quite bizarre. So yeah, obviously it's a work in progress in bonding with him and adapting to him, and I've got to adapt, Drew's got to adapt, we've got to adapt together. So yeah, it's exciting. In terms of the arm, people have asked how I'm adapting to that as well, and at the moment it doesn't look real. It's amazing, because it's healed that much better than I hoped at this stage. I'm really, really pleased, and it's not kind of gnarled me out or anything. It's really fine, but it just doesn't look real yet at the moment. It's quite bizarre. But I said before, I'm so used to having self-harm scars that really having a scar, it's not really an issue to me. If anything, what it probably makes people think, which worries me more than anything, is people see a bandage on this arm and see this arm and they think, oh, poor guy's self-harming. So it kind of makes me kind of flash back to when I was self-harming, and that shame of like people think when they see self-harm scars. So that's bugging me a little bit, I can't lie. But in terms of the actual scar itself, I think once it's healed and blended in, it's just another scar, it's not going to bother me, because I do have the history of getting used to scars anyway. If anything, people will think, wow, that's a massive self-harm scar. I don't know. But really, in the grand scheme of things, do not throw sawdust at me. I'm fine with it. I am absolutely fine with it. But yes, I will keep doing a series of these videos as the months go on, and as feeling comes back, and as this changes in terms of how I'm adapting. But I hope that little made sense. Any questions or comments, as usual, do drop them in the thing below, or send me a message on my Facebook page. And I'm always happy to answer any questions or do specific vlogs if people request it. So yes, thanks for listening, everybody, and thanks for watching. Of course, I would say listening, but I mean listening and watching, because obviously the two are involved. Waffling, right, I'm going. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.